Next up, we got a sign bar. Got some surface rust on it. But where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, it's in good shape, so this will clean up just fine. No markings on it, probably shop made. Got a few of these. Now, in addition to what you see here, I do have sign plates and sign vices and other fixtures. These are just sign bars that I'm looking at right now. So there's one here. It's in really nice shape. Somebody even made a recessed out area here, and then it's interesting. You take all the time to make this thing. Take the time to recess the area here to put your name on it, and then just grab a hand engraver and just very caveman cruelly put your name on that thing. Well, I'll tell you what the story is there. It looks like there was something else on there before. I could just see the ghost image of something. So I don't know if there was a maker's name or something else on there, and then somebody came along and did this. They ground that out and put their meaty caveman hands to work engraving that. But it's still a nice little bar. Here's one. It's kind of similar. This is a nice big one here. It's an interesting one. I think just because the size alone dictates that I'll probably hold on to that one. Here's the one I just picked up. Here's another one. What's nice about this one is it's narrower, and then even narrower and smaller still. So it's almost, you can almost make the argument that it's almost like these are almost like a set, small and larger. Hard to decide. I think I'll keep this one and this small one and that really big one. I'll sell these three. So when I saw this item in the ad, he didn't even mention anything about it. So my initial thought was, wow, wouldn't that be great if that's an old Albrecht chuck? Although it looked a little bit different to me. So and when I got there, I realized it wasn't. So I didn't pay too much for this, but it's actually a pretty nice chuck. It's just an old one. This is an early Jacobs high precision keyless chuck. So it actually has an HP part number. So it actually says 0 to 10 millimeter on one side, and then it says Jacobs, and then it says 0 to 3/8 inch. But the definitive identifier is the HP 100 dash J2. All right. So this is an HP 200. So the or what did I say? Whatever I just said. HP for high precision. They changed their nomenclature on their chucks at some point. So this is an early high precision chuck. And the J2 is probably referring to that the mount on the back here is a Jacobs taper. The arbor is just a regular straight shank arbor, 1/2 inch. That's actually a Chinese import arbor, so nothing that great there. I guess we could check the run out on it, just for the heck of it, and maybe some other time. I do have to go through all of my chucks and see what I've got for extras. Chucks are kind of a hard thing to make decisions on because you think, oh, well, you can't just say, well, I don't need that one because I have one that size already, because what about the mount? I mean, if I've got one with a Morse taper that fits one of the lathes, I could say, well, I don't need any other. And then you go, well, wait a minute, what about the other lathe? What about the Hendy? You know, these straight shank ones, okay, I could put that right in a collet. I can use that right on the Wells Index mill, right? And then there's also the possibility of just needing one for a drill press at some point, right? So that's always a conundrum. Not a horrible problem to have, too many chucks. Oh, in case anybody was wondering, yes, the jaws are in excellent shape on this. I already checked. And this is smooth as glass. This is really nice. This is actually a very nice chuck. It's not a big money chuck because of the age, but still a nice chuck. Now, Indicators. I was just thinking that I have a lot of Brown and Sharp best test indicators, and no, I'm not going to bore you by bringing them all out like I did with all this other stuff. But yet again, more Brown and Sharp best test indicators. So the way he advertised it was that he had one good one and 3 that need work. So what he had was he had 3 loose ones, and then if we found this box, so he threw one in the box here. But this is the one that is the ready to go, ready to hit the road, usable. The foam cancer had gotten to this. You can see the remnants of the crappy foam. This is a 7032-3. This is a tenths indicator. So it's 0.0001. And this one works perfect. Nothing wrong with it. Got an engraving on the side here. Hurts a little bit. Not much. Dovetails are in pretty good shape. Kind of dirty. Got a case for it though. Not too shabby. Really don't like that this is even in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that out. There's no reason for that to be in there, really. What's supposed to be in here for mountings are what go in here that actually slide onto the dovetail. So this we can actually take out instead of having it clunking around the side there. And this rod actually doesn't even fit, or does it? Oh, okay, well that rod does fit that, huh? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's supposed to be in there. Then there's this train wreck number 1. Let me back up a second. I'm not sure if I gave you guys a good look at this one. Decent indicator. So this is, we're going to call this train wreck number 1. This is a 7029-1, which I believe makes this a thousandths indicator. Yep. So this is a 0.001 indicator. And the problem with this one, it actually works perfectly smooth as glass. Okay, returns to the 0 properly and everything. Dovetails are okay. Got an ancient calibration sticker on the side. But this one, I believe, is the one he said. Yes, this one has the remnants of a point broken off inside there. So maybe, I don't even know whether or not even an indicator repair person like Mark Rakowski, if he, sorry if I'm getting that name wrong, if he could even do something with this other than take this assembly out and replace this whole assembly. In other words, you get a drill and a screw extractor tiny enough to actually get that out of there, you know. That's something. And then this one here, this one also, I believe, this one here, I think, yeah, this one's hanging up, so this one's a little sick, maybe. But this one doesn't have anything broken off inside, so I'm wondering, it might even be able to remove, if the size is different. Actually, I bet you it's the same. I bet you could take this assembly out of this one and put it into this one, make this a good usable one again. These are filthy, but I mean, just a little bit of wiping and that cleaned up pretty decent. This has got damage on the plastic crystal over here on the edge. It's actually like almost like a high spot. It's weird. This is a half tenths indicator. So this is 0.0005. This is a 7031-2. So this one could be rescued, maybe. See, that one doesn't seem to be, let me just get that 0. It's not quite returning to 0 every time, so this has got a little bit of a something going on with it. Not sure what. And then the last one is also a something wrong with this one, I forget. Or is this one also one that just is missing a point? Oh, this one's completely jammed up, he said. This one will not move. So something's funky with that one there. This is a 7029-3 thousandths indicator. Boy, I tell you, the dovetails are in great shape on that one. It's too bad it's... Oh. You hear that? Ouch. So there were a couple items when I got there that were off to the side because somebody else had already called and was driving quite a distance away for them. One was a Brown and Sharp micrometer set. I think it was 0 to 6 inch set, in a wooden case. It was a pretty early one, and I noticed from the photographs, like the 0 to 1 inch didn't look like it matched the rest of them, so I think maybe it was a partial set that had some add-ins over the years, and so I didn't really have much use for that. And then there were some old bore gauges that caught my interest, but they were already spoken for, so no big deal there. But then he also had just a couple of items set aside that he said he was going to keep, and one of the items was this square, and I looked at the square and I was like, oh, I actually kind of like that square. It's got a knife edge, bevel edge on it, and it seems like it's a pretty decent one. And I asked him, who made it, and he said Brown and Sharp, and I didn't have my reading glasses on, so I just took his word for it. I could see that it was maker's name was here, and I didn't pay much attention to it because he said that he didn't want to sell it. Well, then when we came back to doing our deal and everything, I said to him after we settled on everything, I said, if you change your mind about that square, give me a call. He says, yeah. I said, yeah, I really like that square. I said, if you would be willing to sell that square, I'd probably keep that for myself. And he says, I could probably get by with a regular square for what I'm going to be doing, like a combination square. So he said, so he'd be willing to sell it. Well, what's it worth to you? He says, I don't know. I have no idea on the value. I said, well, I'll tell you, I'll give you $20 for it right now. And so I gave him, he took my offer. So we tacked on 20 more to everything I had bought, and I got this square. And then I just got home and looked at it, and son of a gun, it's a Starrett. It's a Starrett number 55. I do not have one of these in this size, so that's my little. That's definitely one of my keepers. I do have this Starrett here, which is similar construction, but this is a number 20, and this just has a regular conventional edge on it. The blade does not have a sharp bevel to it. So I'm not quite sure where this fits in the line of succession for sizes here, but it looks almost like that's the next one up. Only maybe because it's got the beveled edge design, maybe that's why the number's not, I would expect it to be almost like a number 30 or 40, 50 type of situation. Who knows? So I'm happy to score that little square. My other ones are all, they're either the adjustable type. I got a couple of small adjustable ones, and then there's I have a couple of larger ones. I've got a Raybone Chesterman that's pretty good size, and then I've got a huge one that's got, I think, no markings on it. I actually don't even remember anymore. That goes to show you how seldom I actually end up using them. And he had 2 micrometers laying there on the bench in pieces, and he said to me, he says, these are junk. He said, if you want them, you can just have them. And I was like, well, they're either going to go in the trash or they're going to go home with me, so I took them. So let's take a quick look at here at what we've got. This one, well, that's a Brown and Sharp, so that was a nice micrometer. I'm not quite sure what exactly was going on with this. Gee, I wonder if we can't save that. It's not really a valuable one, probably anyways. Parts micrometer, I guess. So that's the remnants of a Brown and Sharp 0 to 1, and then this is a Starrett. This looks like a 436, 436 0 to 1 inch. And he said the problem with this one is it's locked up. Now you can see somebody brought it all the way out to here, and that is just weird. Near the beginning of this video, I mentioned a couple of things on eBay. Well, the funny thing is, literally, one of the items came in while me and the mouse in my pocket, were in the process of shooting this video. So we're going to get to look at that. But before we do, this is the last of the stuff from this estate. Basically, this contents of this box was thrown in for free initially, but then I added $10 to my offer to close the deal. And my rationale for adding the $10 for the offer was this pile of stuff right here. Now, at first glance, it didn't look like there was really much to sneeze at in here, which is a perfect. I don't know if I got winter allergies or what, or caught a winter cold. So, apologize if I sound all stuffed up. So these are the little step blocks that are used in conjunction with, oddly enough, hold downs that aren't even here. But sometimes one of these step blocks will go missing, so it's not a bad idea to have those. There is an interesting little hold down here. It's actually marked something, GS something. I wonder what that was from. That looks familiar. There's two of them. There's a pair of little hold downs here. Okay. Here's a hold down. That looks like that's seen some service. Two T-slot cleaners, but I'm looking at them and it's like, oh, those look kind of shallow, small T-slots. But this is what I spotted in here that I said, oh, this might be worth it. And a weld-on shank. Gonna need to clean that rust off of there, but we have I think this says HB Rouse, R-O-U-S-E, H13445. So it turns out, I guess, HB Rouse is a company that went out of business, or at least their website is now available on GoDaddy. But here's one. Somebody actually has several of these that they're selling on eBay, and they're selling them for $49.99 a piece, or best offer. I guess they've got one left. So, I don't know what they're taking for an offer on those, but I know mine looks like it's in better condition than that one. So this is a 45-degree chamfering bit. Okay. So that makes sense. Now that I look at it, the profile, it's like, why did I think that was an end mill? Duh. That is for putting a 45-degree chamfer on the edge of something. So that's a nice little find. All right, so this next item I just bought off of eBay a few days ago, and it was a complete accident that I stumbled upon it. I actually happened to be looking on eBay for something, I forgot what, and I came across a Criterion boring head, a Criterion 3-inch boring head. I think it was a model DBL 204. I don't remember exactly. The thing is that the way that it was listed, I forgot what exactly they put in the title, but they put something in the listing that for some reason eBay's search function was not pulling this item up. So if you were searching Criterion boring head, I don't think it was populating. So I happened to notice that when I stumbled upon this boring head, it was sitting there and there was less than a day left, and or less than 24 hours left, and it only had a bid of $26. And then I went and looked, and sure enough, under where you can put in data like model number, there was the model number, DBL204. A quick search revealed that even though it had a 3/4 inch straight shank on it, it wasn't an R8 shank on it, that DBL204 boring head, a good used one, typically trades for around $150. So, well, if it's sitting there at 26, I got a good chance of actually getting a really good deal on this thing. I don't need another boring head, but the Criterion is considered a high-end boring head, so I'd be willing to take one of my maybe import boring heads, or even my older Bridgeport, if the Criterion's in better shape, and trade up if I could buy it right. So problem is, there was some other people that were in there that also were probably thinking the same thing, which is Don't bid on it now. Wait until the last minute and see what happens. A couple of the people that were watching it, they decided to start bidding within the last hour. This thing was bumping up, and then it settled at around, I forgot how much it settled at, but it was somewhere around 50 or 60 bucks, which is still, really good deal on it. I decided I would be willing to go to $100 for it because the shipping wasn't exorbitant on it. So I whacked it at the last second, and I lost it for, I believe, $102.50, which means that I was the second highest bidder. Long story short, I lost that one, but in the process of looking for that one, I spotted something else. I spotted something that was listed as boring head. That's it. And the description is boring head. Comes as shown. And then the rest of what's in the description is just basically about their policies. Discounted shipping available for multiple things, invoice requests, blah, 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 blah. You don't pay within 3 days, they relist, yada, yada, yada. That's all they listed on this thing. They apparently couldn't find the manufacturer's name anywhere on it, so they just stuck it up there, and they started it really low. I mean, it was at like, I forgot what, when I first saw it, it was really cheap. And then there was the shipping. So I decided this thing was interesting enough looking to me that I wanted to find out what the heck it was. So I did a little bit of research, and I figured out what it was. And when I figured out what it was, I realized that even if, because it was some sort of a kit, like a set, even if it wasn't complete, the most important expensive components appeared to be there, so that it was definitely worth more than, say, $100. 26 bids later, a little bit of snipe work at the very end, and I got this thing for $83 and change. So we're going to unbox it right here, right now, because my first concern is whether or not this was packed well, because it was priority mailed, which is good. That means it got here quick. My theory is that priority mail items spend less time on the road, so they have less of a chance of banging around in a truck. But then again, by priority mail, they're supposed to be moving these things quickly. Maybe that means there's a higher probability of them throwing it. So we got some dents in the box here, but this is what's concerning me here. This is all crushed. It's a big crush right here. Okay, so it looks to me like what they did was, this is a wooden case that this is in. It looks like the wooden case is exactly the height of what's in here. So I don't think, well, we'll find out, but there may not be any packing material in there at all, other than something that just maybe stuffed in here to keep it from moving back and forth. It should be like AVE, right? And have like a chainsaw or something to open the package. Oh, okay. Looks like we see some shrink wrap in there. Oh, God, you gotta... styrofoam peanuts. All right. The only time I use these in packing now is for recycling. I'll keep these and I'll use them. You Steve's Basement customers that are watching this might be coming to you next. The packing peanuts, I mean, not the item in the box. So the item in the box is part of a boring system by a company, I believe that's called Quickway, Kwik Way, and it's used with a boring machine that's used in the primarily, I think, the automotive industry or engine rebuilding industry. So it's not the conventional boring head like you would think of that you would put in a milling machine and use. Matter of fact, the machine that apparently this is supposed to be used with, it doesn't look like a milling machine at all. This company is also known for making line boring machines, which I think are the type of machines that would be used. Say you're doing a repair on, I don't know, like a backhoe bucket or something, and the floor where the pins go through to attach the bucket back onto the arm of the machine. Well, you can't take that arm of the machine, bring it into a machine shop, and stick it under your milling machine on the table, you know. So this is almost like The machine you would use for that is almost like a machine that you can actually take portable out to the field and bore in line right on the machine. So we got the. Well, it's funny. The box actually looked wooden in the picture, but it turns out it's a metal case, and they shrink wrapped it a little bit there to keep it from opening up. These are my scissors from the 1970s. Oh, so they did do a little bit more work here. They did a nice job. Oh yeah, they did a good job of packing this. So my initial concern was unwarranted apparently, because what they did was they packed inside the metal case, and so the metal case might have taken a dent if it was a really bad spill or drop that the box suffered, but it didn't. But more importantly, the goodies inside appear to be separately protected. So I don't know if this set's even complete or if it's missing parts, but I did see like partial sets selling for more than what I paid for this. So this is just a bunch of miscellaneous small pieces. So this is a major part, obviously. So I've seen like these being sold separately. These are 0, 1, 2, and 3. So these are almost like some sort of funky cutting edges. That one's labeled right. Oh no, that must be rear, because this one's F, so that must be front. Look at that cutting tip on there, it's tiny. Well, that's interesting. Doctor, we're going in. Huh. It's just a regular Armstrong 3/4 inch 704 wrench. This little doohickey over here, this apparently is worth some serious money. This is some sort of micrometer device that apparently is used for setting the heads. Now this right here, I believe I did find on eBay for some kind of crazy money. So this is what caught my eye. If you search Quickway micrometer, there's somebody asking $750 for a used one. Here's somebody selling what appears to be a kit similar to what I've got right here, where they're saying no micrometer, so it's just other pieces, and they're asking $1,200 or best offer. So that's interesting. It's amazing to me how expensive this system is. Apparently, this is what a complete setup looks like. That's the boring machine there. You can see it. It's almost like a stand-up lathe. And there's the kit. So there's a whole bunch of pieces with this. So this looks like a pretty complete setup. It's $6,000 or best offer plus $250 shipping. There's the micrometer in that kit right there. This one has a lot. This one here for sale has a lot more of these little doodads than mine. But I think I'm going to do all right on this one. And that was just an accident finding this thing. I have no idea how to, how complete or incomplete this setup is. There's an interesting something there. there's a diagram. It's kind of hard to read, but it actually looks like it shows this micrometer being inserted into the boring head for the purpose of aligning the cutters. And there's nothing in this box that resembles, even remotely resembles, that boring head picture up there. So I'm thinking that's on the machine that I don't have. But anyways, so all right, so I guess we're going to call that a wrap. Hope I didn't bore you guys too much with this one. Look forward to seeing the comments, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're over 8,200 subscribers now. If you're not currently a subscriber, I appreciate it if you hit the subscribe and like buttons. And till next time, have a good one. Take care. If you search quick wait, excuse me, take two.